Hey everyone, this is Scott, and welcome back to the Dumbledore Warcry. I'm just here to give some updates when it comes to my hobbying and games and all that, and recent events and upcoming events that I'll be attending. Um, just to pick up where the last video left off, when we were talking about the event that I was at this past Saturday, Marth's the Dead, that I had done list reviews. I had previously shown in the one before that with Jonathan that I was working on some models for that. I was going for White Hand. I did end up finishing painting some guys, so I've got some Urukai now painted that I didn't before, and then I also did some Dunlending Warriors, which came out pretty decent. I can work on the details as always, but I got that. I fixed up my Saruman a little bit. He was a little worse for wear. Um, but I like the Urukai that the way they came out. They kind of match the hobo. I went for the same kind of paints, different sort of ordering, of course, being different skin for the Uruks and all that. But I think it came out okay with how they stack up. I don't love the hair color. That's something I'll eventually have to address. It matches the skin too much, but it's whatever. Um, but this was the army that I took to do the event. Um, Looking at my games for it, we started off in the first round, so we had a fun travel adventure. So I was in a carpool, and then it had gotten pretty nasty in the morning with snow and all that, and there was actually a semi that spun out. I believe it's on it's 401, I think, that takes us across Ontario. So it spun out and closed down the road. We were stuck for about an hour. So we're sitting there like, okay, we're gonna make good time. We're gonna get there at like 8:45 or so, maybe. We're gonna be early. We'll be good. And it just the time keeps ticking. We almost got off on an exit right before that would have been okay, but it told us to switch at the last second, like it had just happened. So we missed it, and then we're just sitting there hanging out, and we're like, "Oh no, no, no!" And then James, who was running the event, he was good about it. We sent him a message. He said, "Yeah, we'll wait for you guys, but it's gonna be a little bit." Once we finally started moving, we were about an hour away. We ended up getting there at about 9:50. We were supposed to start at 9:30, so we ended up the four of us getting paired against each other. So I got paired against Justin and his Bayornings in the first round, and we pulled Assassination, which is not great for me. So this is kind of how we started. We got straight to it. Assassination's not pretty. Having to go after a bear is difficult. Um, it's I'm not playing usurpers. I don't have +1 to wound. I did have a lot of strength 4, but it just was not winning fights against bears. Early on, we set up in a line. I had my line. He kind of was a little scattered, which was good to avoid lightning a little bit. My lightning ultimately did nothing, I believe. I think I might have gotten a wound on one guy. I didn't hit. I think I hit Grim Bayorn and these two guys. I think I popped it right about back here if it lets me draw. I think it did one wound on that guy. Oh yeah, that's the little. You can see the little gem there. That was his marker. Greenman got to be a real schmuck in this matchup too. He just kind of hung out there. He was nasty on terms of stopping heroics, but I think the might was generally saved for important things like passing a fate on Grimbaorn after I had channeled a sorcerer's blast into him. He actually failed the first fate, mighted the second fate. So heroics were not going to be a big deal here. And ultimately, I mean, it didn't really matter. He was cutting through my guys like butter. The one benefit I had is at one point he did actually change forms in order to fit out of a heroic his heroic move that he called in Grimbaron, which was a good way to sneak him out of where he was stuck. But ultimately, he didn't get to turn back after that. I was calling a heroic move every turn, which made it possible for me to kill him. The sixes notwithstanding, I lost a couple. No, I lost one duel after he turned back. We were kind of fighting around this area. Um, so I won one, didn't kill him. I brought him down to one wound, and then he won the next one, and then on the last turn, uh, he lost the duel, and I managed to kill him. But it was a bloodbath. I was down to about 9 models out of 50. I had a few guys scattered around here with Saruman. I think it was my blue chief over here. He was just kind of hanging around here. I correctly guessed that he was the target, just with where he was. He kind of hung around the ruins. At one point, Bayorn got compelled over there, but blue ended up in the end fighting a Bayorning here, and I lost the duel on the last turn, but he failed to win me. I was on. I think I had already spent the fate. I think I can't recall, but I had no might. He was in a position to kill me with a two-handed guy. Needed threes. He didn't kill me, but I did manage to get Grim Baron at the last. So I believe, to pull it up, the score ended as a, if I can get it, it's not showing on here, but it ended up as a 12-1, because what did he score? Oh, he broke me. So I ended up breaking him as well in the end, with the Grim Baron kill. That was the last one to break him. But I was down to about 10 models. I had nothing left in the tank. It was not a good spot for me. If the game had not ended that turn, it was most likely going to be he's going to pull it out. But I got lucky. It ended. I think that was the first turn, maybe the second turn. But yeah, my shooting didn't do a whole lot. I think I killed one guy with it and wounded a couple. It was pretty bad for taking all these Eric bows. But that put me into game two. I was against Riders of Theoden. I didn't get a really good picture, I don't think, unless it's just not. No, yeah, it wasn't a good picture. So he rolled pretty badly. I think he actually rolled a 2 and a 3 on every guy. Didn't spend might, but that's kind of okay for him. I don't want his army together here. I was hoping to maybe be able to gank one of them, but I couldn't. So his Théoden and Daerwine ended up coming on over here. I put them together on purpose. Gambling was over here, and then Aemir was over here. I rolled pretty rough with mine as well. Saruman rolled a 2, so he put me over here. That's why you see Saruman right there. So I came on this way. Saruman did get lightning. He did kill a couple. I think he dehorsed a couple, and he did take out Daerwine's horse, which was nice. I don't think it was a super impactful lightning, but we did that. The rest of my guys, you can see, basically came on together. I want to say I spent might on green, or yeah, no, green didn't spend a might. It was one of these that spent a might. But they came on this way. I rolled another 2. He actually put me in the same corner with Saruman, rather than the other side. He could have probably taken out a Chief Warband with Aemir, but he put me together over here. Through the course of the game, I ran up. We basically had a line off here, and then some little scattered here. The Krebine ended up flying over here, and then just basically fought right here against 2 guys the whole game. No one killing each other until the end. He came in over here. Aemir booked it this way, and then he kind of met up in this line here, and then charged. So he got a good charge turn. I did do a delay tactic to. I moved at like 5.1 inches, and then did gale winds to get an extra turn to move up, but he didn't take the bait, and he backed up and continued shooting. I'd actually lost about a quarter of my army before we engaged. His shooting did pretty damn well between the throwing spears and bows. And then from there, we just started kind of grinding. I did get some kills. Hatred did a little bit, with the hobos. Ultimately, it was bodies. Towards the end, we beat the crap out of each other. He was down to Theoden and Aemir in the end, on foot. I had Saruman, the Oathmaker, a couple guys in my banner still. It was a real slog. The game finally ended. We had, I think, 7 or 8 rolls. It just kept going, and we made it right before time was called. So or no, I think time was called before we rolled it. We kept going and kept going and kept going. But it was a tactical game, I think. I kept my magic a little bit in check. I'll get into a little bit more later. I didn't love the interactions I was having with White Hand at this event. I wasn't playing it as dirty as I could have, because I don't really roll that way. I still want the game to have fun, but it was still leading to some rougher situations. So This was kind of one of those. I didn't need to add fuel by doing super duper shenanigans like Krebine charges where I charge a hero and a dude and then blast the other dude. I didn't need to do that. So I just went for consistent plays just to win the game. Um, and it wasn't really like gonna necessarily win. I mean, I got broke before him by a decent chunk. And then I just won a couple good priorities in the end. I even charged with Grima at one point. He died. So he had a bunch of turns with free Thaden and Might. Thaden was on foot by that point, but I invested quite a bit, and then it was a real game, despite my hopes. Riders of Thaden is just really annoying on the charge. Um, but that ended up being 12-1. I did end up in the middle, got a wound. I killed the banner and kept mine. I only doubled though. I did not triple. So it was not a blowout. Going into game 3, this was the game of the carpools. So my first round against Justin, because we got paired from being late together. This was against Quaid, who was also in the carpool. He did an awesome job driving in the snow for part of it because it was pretty nasty. I wouldn't have even felt comfortable driving in it, and I'm pretty adept at snow driving, especially now that I've gotten back in the rhythm. I would not have had fun driving. But we ended up, he was playing Griefa Aimer. So it was Aimer, a bunch of riders, I think a couple Royal Guard. I don't no, there's no Royal Guard in this, I don't think. And then a bunch of Warriors of Minas Tirith, which is a solid line. Now it's going back to some of the interactions with White Hand. I tried to explain the lightning really well, and he kind of misinterpreted the range, thinking it was 2 inches of a diameter rather than a radius. So there's only so much I can do ahead of time. I did feel pretty bummed out about it, but I tried to make it a real game. I didn't just do what I could have, which was just sat back and just said, "Okay, I win because of Grima." That's not how I roll. So I did get. You can see all those horses. Those all died in the first turn to lightning. It was a pretty bad one. It killed a banner too. He did have 2 banners, so that equalized it. I didn't get Aimer with anything. He was out. A couple of them lived. They just got dehorsed. But at that point, I did start moving up. I started back on this line. I started shuffling up this way, this way. You can see Aimer's over here. He had actually moved forward far enough that the following turn he did have to charge, because he must charge in this list because of I think it's Price of Grief makes him charge. And then the Warriors of Minas Tirith, he had a block back here and block back here. So they started moving up. These guys moved up. We met after a little bit. I kept moving up. I didn't really stand still. We moved there, and then we fought along this line. And then this warband came in, and then we fought along this line. So I had a nice concave going on. I didn't have banner coverage. My banner was down here the whole time, helping with Aimer. Aimer sat there for about 6 turns. He wouldn't go down. Eventually I did get him, but we lined off. But my guys just they did well enough in the duels. The Uryx, their fight for did quite matter here. Of course, if I had played usurpers, like I wish I did, I would have had fight for anyway. But the strength 4 helped a little bit when he was not in shield wall. But over time, I did start taking out guys. He actually kind of won this area a little bit and pushed forward. We ended up fighting here. I did eventually win this side and peel some guys around to get a trap around them. And then in the last turn, my Krebine finally got to the objectives, fighting for them previously, and did burn them the last turn that he had quartered. I did manage to keep mine safe, so this ended up being a blowout at a 20-0. Grima did blow up one on the first turn. He just went for it. I especially after Lightning did Lightning things, I wasn't gonna sit there and just hang out. I pushed the game. I wasn't gonna sit there and just take a 4-0 win or 5-0 win for burning a Slayer. It was 4-0, 3 and then 1. Or no, it's 4 and then 1, 5-0. I don't roll that way. So I ended up going up and we fought for it. If the dice were a little bit more to his favor, he might have been able to push through. I think his banner was on this side, in the middle. If it was on this side, I think this side would have had a much better time holding. And then I might not have been able to push through with the birds. They were kind of just sitting on the outskirts waiting, but once I cleared stuff off, they had their chance. But that put me into, I think I was in first going into the last game. So I got to play against Birder's Horde. I only got one picture because I'm a schmuck. But I was playing against Ben Gallagher's Birder's Horde. He had gone 3-0 up to that point also. We were the only two 3-0 players. There was a 2-0 player, or sorry, yeah, there was a 2-0 player left after. So there were 5 of us 2-0 after the second round. But he had lost his third round, so it ended up just being 2 3-0s to go for the win. So whoever won this was winning. Spoiler, I lost. So I was in a safe spot even if I lost to podium, just because the VPs that I'd gotten. But I was hoping for the win. In terms of the fights of the game, I think I had a solid advantage most of the time. I'm gonna get really salty in a little bit, explaining the course of events that resulted in me losing this game, which made me really sad. But as you can see, we're playing domination here. Of course, Birder is hiding. Grima was with Birder, so he came out later. At the start, of course, me having 50 models to his 20-ish that are out here, I have the early positioning advantage, but I have to watch out for Birder. If he jumps on at a bad spot, I'm in a really rough position. So I'm in a spot to shoot. So I take my shots. So on the start, he wins priority, which was, or I think I gave it to him. I think, which was good for me. Right? No, I stood still. I'm losing my mind already. He gave me priority to see where I was going. So I stood still over here. If it lets me draw. Saruman popped a lightning back over here, and I believe I killed 2 of these and 2 Warg Riders. I might have killed all 3 of these. I think I did, and then it was just left. So I got really good value for it. These guys stood still. I camped out the first turn because I didn't know where he was going. With Birder, you got to wait. I couldn't really go too far and then have him pop up in the middle house, which, as I'll get to in a minute, that's where he tried. He moved up with this gang up to here. I did get a first good turn of shooting, and then all the wargs pivoted this way. I did get some shots off them. I don't think I killed anything on this side, but I do think I got an orc on this side. So my one shot for the day, because my shooting's terrible. I don't think I killed any Minas Tirith guys. My shooting's always terrible. But this side got straight to business. We started lining off immediately. I was using some shenanigans and magic in order to keep the troll out. I don't really think this troll fought at all. He might have fought one time the whole game. After we started fighting there, this gang, some peeled off this way and then some peeled off towards the middle. He came back with some of the Warg Riders on the third turn. While the orcs were just continuing to fight on this side, the Warg Chieftain was kind of floating around but couldn't really get anywhere. He was just kind of stuck, patiently waiting. I kept a few guys in front of this house, and then I didn't really care if Birder wanted to come on this house. That would have been a bad idea because he was just out doing in the middle of nowhere at that point. It's for one objective. It's not worth it. Especially after I cut down a lot of orcs on the side. This whole art group I think most of them survived. Birder tried to come on the middle house, but I had peeled some guys forward there, and then I had enough coverage there, and I had the back area covered. He couldn't fit. So that's what I was playing for. He almost did. I do think it would have been worse for him if he did at that point in time because so many orcs had died on the side. But he ended up coming on in this house. He did a good job screening Grima. He almost left a gap, but I was nice and I told him about it. So Grima ended up in the back, but that was okay. Grima was really always going to play for this objective. That was his goal. He just needs to try and mess with it. But the turn that Birder came on, some wargs fought over here, killing some guys. He came on this way. From there, he just kind of ran into the middle. We had a big brawl. I killed, I think, all the orcs on this side, but I was just kind of stuck. But I had this objective solidly. This was never going away. He had a few guys floating around here that Grima was saying leave and I take the point. I had this one until the end. We'll get to that in a minute. But essentially, in the end, I had the Oathmaker and a chief over here. Who has a hill troll there. Birders in the middle here. He's got the Warg chief there. Saruman was camping here the whole time. The last turn, it is a heroic move, and he wins it. So he gets to send the Wild Warg chieftain into Saruman, passing his courage test. He had broken. Birders chill, the hill trolls chill. They're just hanging out in the middle. Saruman called a heroic move that turn. Of course, he didn't get it. Then he had priority that turn, so Saruman was contesting it. He had two wargs and an orc here. One warg ran. The other one ran back to the objective to tie it up. And then the other one charged a Krebine that was fighting. So this objective was neutral out. He passed 2 courage tests there. I couldn't get anyone else over there. Then this hill troll that was camping out ran here. I had sent some of them up the previous turn. They peeled to the middle as best they could. And then another hill troll fought here. The Oathmaker went into an orc. So I wasn't sure the game was going to end this turn. So I was playing also to quarter him at this point. But essentially what happened was... So he won that move off. He passed those courage tests. The Warg Chief passed courage test. He had also resisted a channeled flame burst or sorcerer's blast, whatever it was, the turn before that would have killed him. He had 1 wound left on the chief. He resisted that on a 6. Otherwise, it would have killed him. I still had 2 might to wound with Saruman. So I would have succeeded on anything but a 1 to wound. I heroic combat with the Oathmaker. I kill a guy. He just kind of he runs over just somewhere in the way. Or no, I think he did charge the hill troll the last turn. I needed to keep him off the point as best I can. I needed to win the duel. The hill troll. No, he did Birder first. Birder rolls a 4 high. I roll a 6. He's fighting 2 guys. Hill troll cunning rerolls into a 6. Barges sends the guys out and about, and he charges 2 guys that were with Saruman fighting the Warg Chief in this really messed up drawing over here. So I had a trap on the chief that would have killed him and get me back the objective. So he rolls the 6 from that, gets over there, wins the duel, kills both of them. Then Saruman fighting the Warg Chief. Saruman, what was it? I believe he lost. No, he won the duel, from my recollection. It wasn't relevant. Ultimately, he didn't die, and I didn't take any wounds. So it ended up being 4-3 over here on this objective in the end. Over here, similarly, hill troll rolled I think a 5. I roll 6. Cuttings into a 6, and then barges, and then pushes this to be a 3-1 with his dominant on this objective, taking that. So the middle, he had the advantage, but didn't have double. So from my recollection, we had nothing there. I had 3. He had 1. He had 2. He had 1. Was that it? It was something like that. What was the end score? Let me pull it up. The end score was 6-4. He must have gotten 2 somewhere. Oh no, he had the middle double. So he had 2-1 and broke me by exactly 1 model in the end. 1 guy was all I needed to survive, which would have given me, I think, the win, actually. I think that was another condition, a point of failure. So it was the courage tests, 2 cunnings. I think if even one of them failed, I was fine. And then also the break exactly. So it ended up being a 6-4 because I had the objective and I had broken him. That's how close it was. Um, I was pretty sad after. It was a solid game. I don't think Ben made any mistakes. I just do think that I think this was the best scenario it could have gotten in pool 2 against me, or pool 1 these days. But yeah, I thought I had it. Now I do know there was one big mistake that I made, and that ultimately was Saruman having his head around the building. I don't know why he was there. I think I could have, if I think about it, one, two, like he could have been behind this building, and the war chief wouldn't have seen him. I think I did make a mistake there, unfortunately, so it wasn't a flawless game for me. Um, but I think there were so many different points of failure that had to go his way. If any of them don't work, I do win the game. Between the models running on this side and me taking this objective, or one cunning failing, the other cunning failing, the heroic move going my way, the Warg Chieftain running away could have been another one. The Warg Chief having not resisted on needing a 6th the turn before. There's just so many little spots that I could have, and it just didn't. So ultimately, like I said, it was a 4-6. I did lose. And then that ended up with some final results here, with Ben coming in first, going 4-0. Myself going 3-1. I did have a really solid VPs, especially for considering the last game being so small. 48 is pretty solid. That was a lot for me. I don't usually get that many. And then Jan coming with Last Alliance in third. Um, it was a pretty solid day. He actually scored more VPs than me. It was a solid day. I had as much fun as I could. As I mentioned earlier, I didn't really enjoy playing White Hand here. It felt like I was missing a key piece of normal stuff. Like, it's not that the games weren't challenging. They were. It's just it was not conducive towards me playing White Hand. I thought it was going to be, and it really just wasn't. I would have had more fun playing Usurpers. So I'm slipping back towards that. I do have one event that I'm playing White Hand next weekend, but it's for a different reason that I'll get to in a minute when I show my hobbying stuff. Um, but coming in second's not too bad. It was a 90-point event. We did end up with 18. James is only here because he had a bunch of buys. He ended up dropping because there was one drop, so he didn't want to force someone to be the odd man out. So it was a great event. I had a lot of fun, between him and Ray helping with the venue. It was pretty smooth. I'm hoping they're gonna have another one out there soon that I'll jump out to. It's really close to me, right across the border. I mean, it's only about a 3-hour drive if I go straight there. So hopefully no semis flipping over while I go there next time. But um, so that's that one. So hopping back over to my hobbying stuff that's upcoming. So that was a sneak peek. I did a few more hobo stuff. I mentioned I was going to do some spear conversions. So these are some bows. I cut the bow off, and then I didn't put their backside on. I didn't show the back there, but I didn't put their quivers on in the back. So it's a little sparse in the back, but I think I can hide it. Maybe I might need some green stuff. I also did this one. I got some spear hands on. I cut off as best I could the hand. These are really brittle with how small they are, so I'm hoping I can paint over it. But another spear type, and then the last one, I cut off the bows and the arrows after. But this is the sneak peek of what could have been if they didn't start restricting war gear. This spear actually slotted into the quiver area in the back really well. So he's got that covering that, and then he's just kind of barehanded after that. I'm gonna figure out something to put in his hands after, to make it look cool. I only have 4 of them, I think, so it's not that many. These are like if I run out of spears, which I think I have 50 something of them before these conversions. So I might not ever need them, but it's worth having. Then I've got some orcs, and I actually did some with spare bits I had from the spear conversions. I used some hobo bows and stuff to add on to them, and they actually, outside their monstrously large quivers in the back, they have some hobo quivers. I'm gonna have to do some cleanup probably with this. Maybe with, I think I could do it with painting. I primed these already, so I am just gonna do it with painting. But it's fine. They're orcs. But I made some bow orcs. Why do you have bow orcs when they're so crappy? Sure, I can run them as trackers, but we'll see in a little bit why I have orc bows. I also did a lot of work cutting off shields for the shield orcs. So I cut off all the shields, especially the ones that are like on their arms. It was a pain, but I used all the hobo shields that I had lying around, and I made convergence. And then here's the fun part, and it of course came backwards. So you can't really see it here, but I can zoom in and you can kind of see it. So this is obviously a Saruman. See, there's a little hint of red there, and it's more evident on the bottom here. But you can see there's a little hint of blue here. If I pull up the other one, you can see there's a little bit of green. This is my Saruman of many colors. So I actually took a lot of time doing this, way more than usual. I did some touch ups after this. This is the final picture because you can see there's the chip here that kept forming. I finally got that fixed. I did like obviously him himself, and then I did like some really light glazes that, and of course, this is the first time I'm ever using the word glaze. I'm not good at painting, so this is probably the best model I've ever done. I did manage to get the hair to pop a little bit, which is nice. It's hard, white on white, but I managed it. But there's like the subtle colors that you can see. Now, this is going to be one that if you look really close, you'll definitely see it. But from a distance, it's just Saruman. He's got mostly white. You can't really see it, but you're going to look close. And that's the whole deal with Saruman of many colors. You don't notice at first that it's all colors. And then when Gandalf looks closer, he sees all the different colors. So I only really did 3.5 colors. There are 2 different greens on the back, but I think that was okay. It needed to be subtle. It needed to just kind of flow through everything. I might eventually do another one. I don't think it worked on the metal very well. I think I could have done it better on a plastic. I have another plastic one, but I didn't find it until after I did this. So, um, why did I do a Saruman of many colors? Another event that I'm going to that I need to pull up the Longshanks for quickly because I accidentally didn't have it open. Longshanks has finally started speeding up a little. I mentioned this in the last video, but I'm going to a Great Lakes Hobbit League event. It's based on the Fellowship Book 1. We're up to 15 signups, which is really cool. I think we're probably going to get a few more. This is going to be a nice, solid event like the last one. I am bringing White Hand, but the whole theme of it is Book 1. So my whole thing is that I don't have anyone for Fellowship of the Ring Book 1. I only have Isengard these days. The only Isengard person that's mentioned at this stage is Saruman. He's talked about a lot in details. Gandalf talks about being delayed and all that. He talks about Saruman of many colors. So I had to go with Saruman. That's the only real option I had. I wanted to be on theme for the event. So I can pull up my registration, should have it, even though it's hidden. So I'm playing Saruman. He did have the Dunlendings under his control at this point. He was already doing his little things. Now there's no Uruks or Orcs mentioned, so I didn't take them. But at this stage, the hobos were with him. So he's just got a bunch of hobos. We got some flaming brands, some bows, some spears. There's no Krebine allowed. It is an anti-flying event, no flyers. And Grima was in Rohan, so he's a little busy. So I'm trying to be on theme here. This is the best I could do with theme. Keep it restricted to Saruman and hobos. No Uruks, no Orcs, no armored Dunlendings and all that. No Thryden or Gorolf running around. Those ones are a little more War of the Ring type deal, and it hadn't started yet. So just went with hobos. They're angry. They're under Saruman already. They're helping out. But this is gonna be a cool one. I forgot what the scenarios are, but they're I think it's Storm the Camp, Divide and Conquer, and I don't remember the other one. But it'll be solid. I do have a couple more hobbying things for the event. If I find it. Um, Another thing, so they have their hobbying part. So this is why I painted Saruman. He's my hobbying entry. You had to um oh no, sorry, your hobbying has to, so your hobbying have to be oh no, sorry. Your hobbying has to be someone mentioned in the Fellowship of the Book Ring Book 1. It has to be someone from the book. So that's why I did Saruman. He's the only one that I have from the book. I don't have a Fellowship set anymore. I had to sell it. So this is all I got. So he's my hobbying entry. I cleaned him up a little again, so he'll be a little better than this. But I got him on a base and all that. Um, on top of that, you have to make 4 objective markers. So I finally found my green stuff and I did some sculpting. So you can't really see it from this angle, but this angle you hopefully can see it a little better. These are meant to be some scrolls. Um, I I used ChatGPT to help me. I said, please make 4 Saruman Isengard theme objective markers, and it did a really good job. I took it through the paces. I'm like, explain this to me, give me the reasoning behind it, give me the whole big deal, and then from there I said, okay, I'm going to sculpt at this point. So the whole thing is Saruman's been delving in the tomes, forbidden knowledge and all that. He's been looking for stuff, looking for the ring. So these are the scrolls and whatnot he's looking for. They'll be better when they're painted. I have them primed. I didn't start painting them yet, but there's a few scrolls, some big ones, some like together ones. A seal on this one that I'm going to paint with something, maybe Numenorian symbol or something. Um, the next one, money. He bribed Bill Fernie and the men of Bree and all that. So I've got some money sacks. There's some coins on the ground. Um, these will look better when they're painted, but I like the little weird texture that I managed to get into this. Like I forgot the name of that, but I think it came out pretty good. And these are coins kind of spelling out. Next up, we have bribery. Not, oh, sorry, that was bribery. This is industrialization. So it's tree. Got a tree. I got a couple axe heads from my new sets of orcs that I cut off because I failed to take pictures of them, I think. Oh no, they're on the next one. But I did some hobo conversions for them too. But this is a nice tree stump with a couple axe heads embedded in it. I think I can do that pretty well. I've practiced with the Krebine trees. It wanted me to do a Krebine objective mark. I'm just like, I'm not doing that. I'd have to take birds off the Krebine to do it and make a tree. No. Um, and then, of course, I do have uh, a Palantir from just the set. So these are my 4 objective markers. I got the Palantir, the tree, industrialization, bribery, and knowledge. It's kind of the theme it went for. Okay, I don't have a picture of the orcs, but essentially I took some, they're not there. I took some 2-hand bits that I had left and I put them onto the orcs from the 2 boxes that I got. And then lastly, I sat and primed everybody. You might actually be able to see the orcs here. Are they here? Oh, there they are. So you can see the orcs here. I did the axe head for this type because I didn't have the right hand spacing, but the others I was able to do full just hand with the whole thing on, and they look really cool. But that leads me to, why are you doing all these orcs? What are they for? They're for Sauron. I finally ordered a Sauron. So I've been playing it on TTS recently, and it's been a lot of fun. I lost a few games so far. I think I'm am I 7-3? I think I'm 7-3. Um, it's a lot of fun. I enjoy playing him. So I'll be playing him at another upcoming event, which is, if I can switch over again. So I wasn't originally going to go to this event because I didn't really like the theme, but now that I'm a Sauron main, this is an event over in Ontario. It is Pool 2, Kill the Enemy. So we're running through all of Pool 2. Where it's battle, contest champions, to the death, assassination. We're just beating the crap out of each other. So I'm like, okay, that's really cool. But there's also another restriction. No models on bases over 50 millimeters. No trolls, basically. You can have cave trolls, hill trolls. No troll chiefs, no trolls, no Balrogs, no big things, no war beasts. None of them work. So I'm like, okay, well, now that I'm a Sauron main and I was getting Sauron anyway, I'm like, okay, I can go to this event. I can't go to this event if I'm playing Isengard. 550, I just kind of auto lose Lords of Battle. I have a problem in contest as well, depending on what I take. So I couldn't do it. But I have Sauron now. Sauron's probably gonna be pretty dang good here. My army, it's not too much of a secret. I don't really care. I'm playing Sauron like is um I'm actually running it pretty bow heavy. So you can see I actually have 8 bows. I'm maxed on bows. My thought process is that the bows are going to be useful. I think a lot of people might go very melee heavy here. At 550, maybe some elves looking for a big elf hero centerpiece, but I don't know that they'll have a lot of bows. Assassination, I have a lot of power if I just have those orc bows hanging back with Sauron. They have to kill Sauron or they risk a draw, really, is what it is. So I have a lot of power to kind of be like, okay, Sauron's chill. I have these bows. They're going to have to come to me, or I'm going to slowly move forward, take some pot shots, do some chill souls, really set the pace of the game. To the death, similarly, if I end up against someone with minimal bows, I have a lot of power with my chill souls and my bows as I move up to try and corner them with Sauron. Contest, it's contest. The orcs aren't going to hold up anyway. I kind of need to just get them back. And if I can get them back into a position that they can shoot for a turn or two, while Sauron hopefully scores some kills, I'll be in a really good spot. I mean, if Sauron uh, gets enough kills, there's just no way to come back against him. And then another one similar in the Lord's Battle, I need to protect the orcs. They're the weak point of the list. This is the point level where you could jokingly run Sauron and a troll chief. I will always maintain as a meme list, but if there was no restriction on 60 or above 50 millimeter bases, it would be really strong here because there's no objectives to hold. You just kind of beat stuff up. But there's no alternative option here. There's not really like 150. I could run something else, but out of curiosity, I want to check how much is the Witch King? Or no, I can't do the Witch King on a Felvies because it's five no bases. Let me randomly check though. How much does the Witch King cost in Barad-dûr? Because I do have him. The Witch King on horse and Morgul Blade would actually be pretty funny. I might mess around and try this. We might be seeing a different list. I think the Witch King can kind of go hide and do whatever he wants, and just no one cares do anything to him. He just runs away. Sauron just goes crazy. I might do this. That'd be pretty funny. I do have I'm pretty sure I still have my Witch King on horse. I really hope I didn't get rid of him. Otherwise, I can't do that, but we'll figure it out. But that's the next event I'll be going to on the 7th. So I've got this weekend, the 21st, and then the 7th is the next. So I got a couple weeks to paint my Sauron and these orcs that I have to do. But March is a big month because I also have the 14th, the March Muster. That's another Ontario event. It's going to be 4 rounds, 650. I'm definitely taking hobos to that because again, I'm ditching White Hand for a bit until I hit a point where I'm met with I need to have all the tools and tricks, and that is the difference between me winning. Then I'll take it. But I think I can get away with usurpers and my positioning and all that until then. And then after that, I'm headed down and over, I think a little bit, to Ohio. They've got an event, 750, the week before Adepticon. It's basically a practice event for Adepticon. It's at 18 people. We got a solid group of people. Not too many lists are public right now, but we'll be doing list reviews for all these events as soon as they are. And then, of course, the week after that's Adepticon. There is a whole bunch of stuff going on. There's the Masters event and the Last Chance before it. I'm not playing in them. I'm actually helping judge them because I was a big part of making it happen in terms of data gathering and communication stuff. So I excluded myself from being able to win a ticket. I wanted to stay impartial, make the event happen. I'm hoping next year I'll be able to make it in based on some play this year. I think I've got a pretty good shot of making it in if I just stay consistent between leagues and some of the events I'll be going to. But I'll be there to help judge for the Last Chance and the Masters, and then I'm on the waiting list for the GT. I'm sure someone's going to drop. I should be pretty high up on the waiting list, so I'm sure by the time it happens, I'll either be in or there's a chance that they expand it a little bit. If not, I'll hang out in the corner. I'm already gonna be there anyway. I'll bring all 200 of my hobos and I'll have a mini game. How many hobos can you kill? You get like I'll put my Sauron in the middle of the table. How many can he kill before he kicks the bucket? It's That's gonna be the challenge if I don't end up playing. But my idea for playing, I'm going to be testing some games tomorrow, Saturday. Um, I guess it'll be today by the time this video comes out. I'm going to test some armies, but I'm between White Hand and Usurpers. I'm leaning more towards Usurpers for Adepticon. I just want to bring bodies. I think it'll catch most people. I don't think people have adopted the swarm mentality, and when I show up with 68 models, it's going to be pretty nasty. Actually, it'll be more than 68. I think I hit in the 70s. I think I hit 75 even. I'm only running 3 carbine, so at most, because that's all I have. So I could run more if I really put my mind to it, but I don't think I need it. I felt really good at 3 at max. I think I've been solid just with numbers, bows, decision making, might. I don't think I need more than 3. I always say I use them as a scalpel rather than a blunt instrument. Everyone's bringing like 10. I don't need 10. I put them exactly where I want them to be, and that's how I roll. But that's it for today. Thanks for listening in to all the hobbying and event stuff. I will have some more stuff this week when the lists come out for the Great Lakes event, and then I'll probably be talking about some more TTS stuff soon. And of course, the FAQs are expected any day now. So we will have some more information and reviews on that stuff, especially FAQs. I'll be doing as deep a dive as possible with everything to try and give everyone the insight on what makes sense or doesn't make sense with what they give, and then we'll see from there. But thanks for joining me, and I'll see you all next time.